A 2006 study by the Guttmacher Institute states 3 million annual pregnancies in the United States were unplanned. 42% of these unintended pregnancies were terminated by abortion. According to the study, the two most important reasons given for aborting an unplanned pregnancy were concerns for or responsibility to other individuals and the inability to afford a baby.
Unfortunately, my husband was incarcerated at the time of my pregnancy and wasn't around, so I was by myself. I have no family out here. I was very scared. I was living out of my car. I was homeless at the time and didn't know where I was going to turn.
For Lisa, her help came in the form of Birthmothers, a Christian faith-based organization dedicated to providing non-judgmental assistance to any woman facing an unplanned pregnancy, regardless of age, race, religion, income, or marital status.
When I was a little girl, I witnessed my mom struggle through her mental illness, my grandmother having to take over her responsibilities and holding down a full-time job. And my sister became pregnant during that time at 14 years old, and it was devastating for her being such a child herself, and it was just so hard to watch her and not to be able to do anything about it. But I always had a compassion for her situation and young women like her.
Founded in 1996 by Jim Wright, Birthmothers has recruited, trained, and matched more than 400 friends with birth moms, family members, and birth dads.
Birthmothers was established with this mission statement: to help a woman overcome the barriers to choosing life for her baby and facilitate adoption when the woman concludes, not us, but when the woman concludes it's in the best interest of her child.
Birthmothers was created from Jim Wright's personal experience with adoption.
In 1985, I got some alarming news. In March of 1985, I learned I was HIV positive from contaminated blood products. And I married in 1986. My wife was free of the virus, but in 1989, she contracted the virus as well. In 1990 through 91, we were seeking to adopt a child. We were in the marketplace talking to birthmothers. What we found in this process was these women weren't going to church. They didn't have a church to go to. They felt condemned being pregnant out of wedlock.
Women facing an unplanned pregnancy are often left with few, if any, viable options for choosing life for their baby. They feel alone, afraid, helpless, and here is where the church can lend a helping hand.
My role is to provide practical assistance, emotional support, and spiritual encouragement to women that comes to Birthmothers. Whether the birth mom chooses to parent, place for an adoption, or ultimately chooses abortion, our main responsibility is to provide love, compassion, and assistance to the birth mom throughout her struggle. Our ultimate goal is to facilitate life for the baby and for the mom.
Jim began his quest by building relationships with local churches to recruit women to become friends. Since then, Birthmothers has continued to work hand in hand with congregations to grow church teams that minister to pregnant women in their communities.
The church is the primary instrument of God's reconciling and adoptive love. Every church is made up of people who are called to reflect the compassion of Christ. And at Birthmothers, it's our job to equip them to reach out to hurting families. The local church is where we find our friends and volunteers. The church offers prayer support, spiritual guidance, financial resources, and encouragement in order to make an impact in the lives of women and families in our community.
John Yates is the senior pastor of Falls Church in Virginia, one of Birthmothers' partnering churches.
The Birthmothers organization helps us make the need known in our church family about people dealing with crisis pregnancy. They help us recruit and train men and women who become friends of the folks who are going through this crisis time in their lives. They will help them get to crisis pregnancy centers. They will help them get medical care. They'll help them get to adoption centers. If they need places to live, help in any way they help them with. You know, it really is like an infrastructure made available to our church to help us minister to people in this time of need.
The church provides the actual network of love and support so needed by these families. And we at Birthmothers provide the strategy, consultation, training, and ministry support to equip God's people to serve women and families in need.
Through the help, support, and love of her birth mother friend, Lisa is now enjoying a beautiful life with her little girl, Michaela.
Birthmothers matched me with Pam and Vincent. They opened their house generously to me, and I stayed with them for about 2 months during my pregnancy. And from there I moved on to Mary's house, which caters to pregnant women. I still keep in contact with Pam and her husband. They bring by gifts for the baby, and we do family picnics on occasion. I also keep in touch with Birthmothers and get donated clothes and diapers when they have them. If it wasn't for Birthmothers, I don't know where I would be.
If you or someone you know is struggling through a crisis pregnancy, or if you would like to know how you can foster your church to become a partner church of Birthmothers, call Birthmothers at 1-877-77-BIRTH and visit www.birthmothers.org and www.birthmotherministries.org.